Okay, so we're going to do a really nice sequence of restorative poses that just help to ease tension in a stiff back. So just get yourself ready. Have a blanket on top of your normal mat. So I think that like this big bath towel is really good. Just creating an environment conducive to relaxation. So have a bolster underneath your knees. Have a couple of blocks for underneath your feet. And have a blanket, a folded blanket for underneath your head. It's always good if you can to
I was just checking if your mic's on.
oh no, okay, thank you. That should be on now. Thanks for letting me know. So if you've got something to cover your eyes with, then that is good as well, because that will just help you to relax, to keep the lightness out of your eyes, and just to give yourself the best opportunity to relax that you can. So this practice is about relaxation, isn't it? So comfort is really essential in that aim. So just lay yourself on the floor with the bolster underneath your knees, the blocks underneath your feet, the blanket underneath your head, and just lay down onto the floor. I always think that after a busy day, this first minute or so is just the most blissful thing, because it's just an opportunity to really release. There are no expectations on our minds or our bodies. We're just here just to let go and relax. So allow yourself to just assess how you're feeling right now. Assess whether or not you feel comfortable. And if you don't, then adjust your position until you do feel comfortable. Because without comfort, there is no relaxation. Just observe how the body releases into the floor. Observe where the body makes contact with the ground. So at first, you may need to just adjust your position a few times until you find that perfect sweet spot of comfort and relaxation. So while this is a practice of relaxation, it's not a test of stillness. Of course, we stay still, but if you need to adjust, then adjust. There's nothing to be gained from from staying in discomfort. Observe where the body makes contact with the ground. Draw your attention into the soles of the feet. So much so that the skin on the underside of the foot begins to tingle with consciousness. Draw your attention into the sole of the foot so that the skin tingles with consciousness. And then consciously relax the skin and the muscle and the bone and the underside of the foot. And then consciously relax the sole of the foot. Draw your attention to the top of the foot. So the skin tingles with consciousness. And then consciously relax the top of the foot, the skin and the muscle and the bones. Just relaxing the top of the foot so that the foot becomes heavy. Take deep inhalations and draw your attention into the shins. And then consciously relax the fronts of the shins into the bed of the calf muscle. Relaxing the shins into the calf muscle and then draw your attention into the kneecaps. Observe how Each body part can have an emotional response, but try to maintain a feeling of positivity. Drawing your attention into your kneecaps, breathing in deeply and then relaxing the kneecaps completely. Allow the kneecaps to sink into the backs of the knees, and draw your attention into your thighs, so that the skin and the muscle and the bones tingle with consciousness. Draw your attention into the thighs, and allow the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs, completely relaxing the whole of the leg. Taking deep inhalations and then letting go with the legs with the out breath. Just feeling that blissful release. And then draw your attention into the abdomen. To the abdomen and the diaphragm region and the torso. Take a deep inhalation, and then with the exhalation allow the abdomen to completely release, to let the abdomen move down towards the floor. Then release the abdomen. Relax the abdomen and the diaphragm region and draw your attention into the chest. Feeling the rise and the fall of the inhalation and exhalation. And then draw your attention into the shoulders and the chest and the upper arms and the lower arms and the fingers. And then consciously relax the shoulders and the forearm, the upper arms and the forearms. Relaxing the backs of the hand into the mat. And then draw your attention into your head. Softening the muscles around the forehead. Drawing the muscles down towards the ear. Relaxing the hands and the forearms and the upper arms and the shoulders. Relaxing the neck. Softening the muscles around the face. Keeping the body as still as you can. So as you know, as we progress into the practice, I'll speak less and less so that you can listen to any brief instructions and then spend the rest of the time in relaxation. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and bring your feet onto the bolster. Have the feet apart, the knees together, just resting your back into the floor. And then roll onto your right side for a moment. And then sit yourself up, just come up into a seated position, just a good cross-leg position for a moment. Just observe how your energy is feeling, how it's changed from just that simple, basic relaxation pose. So we can do our spinal lengthening pose. So get your blanket and unfold it so that it's a kind of a quarter fold like this. So it's a long blanket along the floor. And then fold it down the middle, and then fold it down the middle again. So what you get is a long, narrow, quite thick little kind of mini bolster. I'm going to put this end at the top because that's got all the hemming on it, and that can be a bit uncomfortable in your back. So have the kind of softer end in the back. So we're going to keep the bolster for underneath our knees. You don't want to sit too close to this. So you want to sit down onto the floor with that little bit of folded blanket underneath, just kind of an inch away from where you're sitting, and the bolster underneath your knees. And then you lift your chest, you guide yourself down along that little strip of blanket, and then you get the end of the blanket and then roll it up into like a little Swiss roll type thing, and then that becomes a little pillow for your head. So again, as ever, just make sure that you feel comfortable. Make sure that you feel evenly stretched. So this pose, if the bolster is in the right place underneath your knees, it gives you a real sensation of spinal elongation. So try the bolster underneath the backs of the thighs. That usually doesn't give you that feeling of spinal elongation. Roll the bolster underneath the knees, and then maybe it starts. But I think if you fold it, if you roll it away just a little bit more, so it's underneath the tops of the calf muscles, and your feet are just floating in the air a little, then you get this really good feeling of spinal elongation. So again, you can just cover your eyes, and as you know, as we come into the main body of the sequence, I'll speak less and less so that you're not having to listen. You can just spend the time to relax. Just ensure that you are comfortable, and then just use the time to let yourself relax into the floor. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes and your fingers. Bend your knees, bring your feet onto the bolster, and then just gently roll off the rolled up blanket, and then bring yourself up into a seated position. Just sit in cross legs. Just observe how your energy along your spine has changed. Okay, and then just unfold the blanket and then just refold it like it's a little pillow in your little quarter fold like that. We're going to do a couple of side lying stretches. If you've got an oblong bolster, that's better for this. If you haven't got an oblong bolster, just stick with your tubular bolster. If you haven't got a bolster at all, then you can just use a folded blanket, just fold it up one more time, and that's going to just go in the armpit chest when you lay down onto the side. You can have a block for your head. You might need a block for your arm because you're going to bring your arm over your head. So if you've got a stiff shoulder, maybe a block for your arm. Just sit with your knees bent, like kind of one leg sitting kind of in the cradle of the other leg. And then you're going to just stretch along, and then it's the armpit chest that is supported by the bolster. Bring the shoulder down, just let this arm just come into a little right angle, and then just assess your level of comfort at this stage. You can keep your arm on the hip or stretch your arm over your ear. So just one of our side lying stretches. Try and breathe evenly into both lungs, even though one of the lungs feel like it's kind of constricted slightly with the bolster. Just breathe as evenly as you can. Remember, adjust until you feel like you have found your level of comfort. And then when you have, then allow yourself to relax. Okay, when you're ready, just bring your top hand down onto the top hip. Push your bent elbow into the floor and then just sit yourself up in cross legs. Just again observe how your energy has changed. It's pretty intense, even though we've just been laying down. So let's just do the other side. Apologies if you can hear background noise. I think our neighbours have just turned up. So just sit with your legs crossed on the other side and then just lengthen out along, just so that the armpit chest is supported by the bolster. The arm that's on the floor just sits in a right angle, and then you can either leave the top hand on the hip or stretch that top arm over your ear so that you cover your ear with the top arm. If there's stiffness in your shoulders, then just put a block underneath the hand, otherwise just rest into the floor. Okay, bring the top hand back onto the hip, push your bottom elbow down into the floor, and then just come back up into cross legs. Just feel the openness around the shoulders and around the armpits. Deep, intense energy And then we'll stay with the bolster, but this time we're going to just have it underneath the hip. So the bottom of the hip is going to be on one end, and then the bolster is going to support the waist, so just the abdominal wall. So you just stretch yourself out. It's another side lying stretch. So you just have the bolster underneath your waist, stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out. So initially you can have a good old stretch, just stretching into your arms, stretching into your hands, and then just let the body release into the floor. Just let the body relax. Just focus on deep inhalations and exhalations. And then gently bend your knees, just roll onto your front, push your elbows into the floor, and then just sit back on your heels for a moment. Again, just observing your energy. And then just come onto your other side. So again, the top of the hip is just at the bottom edge of the bolster. The side waist is in the bolster. Just have a good old stretch first of all. Just stretch your arms out, your legs out. Try and be in a good straight line with your arms and your hips and your legs. Have a good stretch, and then allow yourself to let go. Okay, and then just roll back onto your front, bend your knees, roll onto your front, push your elbows into the floor, and then just sit yourself back on your seat bones. And then just for the last few minutes, we'll do our restorative surfboard pose. So if there's something you can put underneath your shins, that just helps your legs to relax. So just a little folded bolster, a little folded blanket underneath your shins. Have a block for your head with a blanket on top, just so it's comfortable. And then just lay down onto your front so that your head is free of the end of the bolster. And then just bring your forehead onto the block and the blanket, and then just rest your arms on the floor, just at the sides of your head. And then completely relax into the bolster. Just breathe into the back chest, just inflating the shoulder blade region with the breath. Okay, when you're ready, just bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up into just a kneeling position, just sitting back on your heels for a moment, just observing how your energy has changed. And then sit yourself in cross legs, just directly onto your bolster. Just bring your hands into Namaste. Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. The Samanic breath that helps to acknowledge the energy you have released through your practice. That good, clean energy that the relaxation poses bring to the body and the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside, and then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and you've given yourself good positive energy to put into your evening. So thank you very much for joining me.